Today, we're busting 8 of the craziest myths you've ever heard in Bloodstrike. And hey, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I test all the weird, wild, and mind-blowing stuff you've always wondered about. Now grab your popcorn, sit back, and let's get started. Alright, first up, can you perform an execution while reviving your teammate? It sounded almost too good to be true, but of course, we had to test it out. To test this myth, I had to invite my friend from Discord. By the way, you can join my Discord server too. The link is in the description. So, here's what happened. My friend knocked my teammate and then I knocked my friend right after. They were both knocked pretty close to each other, so I was getting both the revive and execution options at the same time. Naturally, I had to give it a shot, so I pressed both buttons at once. And you won't believe what happened next. My character actually performed the execution while also reviving my teammate at the same time. I mean, talk about multitasking. So yeah, turns out you can definitely pull off both an execution and a revive in the same moment. Myth is officially confirmed. Now you can save your teammates and still flex on the enemy at the same time. Let's move on to the next myth. Myth 2. Ethan's wall can be broken with a Molotov. It also sounded almost too good to be true, but you know we had to test it out. So, my friend deployed Ethan's shield, and I tossed a Molotov right at it. As soon as the Molotov made contact with the shield, boom, it instantly disappeared. I couldn't believe it at first, but yeah, the Molotov really did break Ethan's shield. Myth is officially confirmed. Now you know that even shields can't stand up to the heat. Let's move on to the next myth. Myth 3. Blast Bomb can destroy Hank's turret. My friend placed Hank's turret, and I threw Blast Bomb right on it. Boom! Just look at that. Hank's turret actually took damage, which means it can get destroyed. But hold on, when I tried using Blast passive skill instead, it didn't do a single scratch. So, here's the takeaway. Be careful and precise when using Blast, because his bomb can 100% destroy Hank's turret, but his passive? Not so much. Myth is officially confirmed. Now you know how to deal with that pesky turret in style. Let's move on to the next myth. Myth 4. If you're doing an emote against an enemy, the enemy will be invisible when knocked. When I first heard this myth, I honestly didn't know what to think. I've done emotes against enemies many times, but I've never seen anyone disappear. Still, we had to test it out, so here's what happened. I knocked an enemy, and then I went ahead and did the emote just like the myth said. And guess what? As expected, the enemy didn't disappear at all. They stayed right there, no invisibility magic happening. So yeah, this myth is officially busted. Looks like emotes don't have the power to make enemies vanish after all. Now let's move on to the next myth and see what crazy stuff we find next. Myth 5. When reloading Kar 98K, it loads 5 bullets at once, but with an 8x scope it reloads 1 bullet at a time. This myth came from the same guy, so I honestly thought it might get busted too. But hey, you gotta test it yourself. So I hopped into the range, grabbed my trusty Kar 98K with a smaller scope, and started emptying my magazine. Once I was out of bullets, I reloaded, and just like the guy said, it did reload all 5 bullets at once. Nothing surprising there. But now, here's the real test. What happens when we slap on an 8x scope? So, I emptied my magazine once again, reloaded, and instead of reloading all the bullets at once as I expected, it reloaded them one by one, each bullet loading individually. At first, I was like, what's going on here? But after some thought, it clicked. The reason this happens is actually pretty simple. When you're using a larger scope like the 8x, it interferes with the reload process. The tool that usually reloads all the bullets at once is blocked by the sight, so the game ends up having to reload each bullet separately. It's one of those little details that most players don't really pay attention to, but it's actually how the game handles the reload when there's a larger scope in the way. So yeah, after testing it out and seeing it firsthand, I can confidently say this myth is confirmed. Pretty wild, right? Anyway, now that we've got this one confirmed, let's move on to the next myth and see what else is in store. Myth 6. In the new Zombie Royale mode, if you try to use Nacho's skill, it cancels out. So, I'm not exactly a Nacho main, which is probably why I've never seen this happen before, but I decided to test it out for myself. I hopped into Zombie Royale on Shutter Island, picked Nacho, and then activated his ability. Now, according to the myth, His ability should disappear when used in Zombie Royale, but as you can see, nothing happened. His ability stayed right there just like normal. So, yep, this myth is officially busted.
Nope.
Looks like Nacho's skill isn't going anywhere in Zombie Royale mode. Let's move on to the next myth and see what we find. Myth 7. You can land on the semicircles on the prison wall. So, this guy gave me the steps for the myth, but honestly, I had no idea what he was talking about when he mentioned these semicircles. At first, I was like, what are you even talking about?
Wait a minute!
But after a bit of thinking, I figured he might be referring to those platforms under the water tank, though I'm not completely sure. Either way, based on what I understood from his comment, let's go with the platform under the water tank for now. And here's the thing, you really don't need to struggle to land on it at all. You can just drop right down and land there directly, no crazy stunts are required. So, I jumped into the game, hopped out of the plane, and made my way straight to the platform. As you can see, I landed there perfectly with no problems. No struggle, no weird angles, just a clean landing. But hey, maybe he was talking about something else entirely. Who knows? Maybe he'll give me clearer details in the future. But for now, this myth is confirmed. You can definitely land there, but you can't stay there long because you get the warning, so be quick. Now let's move on to the next myth. Myth 8. If you don't do anything with your character while holding a machine gun, it will do an inspection animation. I've never seen this happen in Bloodstrike before, but you know what? Let's test it out and see if it's true. So I picked up the PCAM and just stood there for a good amount of time, long enough that I thought something might happen. But nothing really changed. The character just stood there with the gun like usual, no inspection animation or anything. Now, there's also a second machine gun in the game, so I figured I should test it with that too. So, I grabbed it and stood still for a couple more minutes, but once again, nothing happened. No special animation, no inspection, just me standing there like a statue with a big gun. So yeah, this myth is officially busted. Looks like machine guns don't get any inspection animations when you stand still. Alright guys, all 8 myths tested. Thanks for the support. Join the Discord, link in the description. Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got even crazier Bloodstrike videos coming soon. I'll see you legends in the next one. Peace out.